Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Madison. I'm George Hidalgo, Club President. Thanks for connecting with your fellow Rotarians today. We will open our meeting with some music. Jeff and Angela Bartell will lead us in singing our patriotic song, Your Grand Old Flag, followed by On Wisconsin.
Maestro?
On Wisconsin, plunge right through that line. Run the ball clear down the field, like touchdown sure this time. You rah, rah, on Wisconsin, fight on for her fame. Fight, fellows, fight, 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 we'll win this game. You rah, rah, Wisconsin. You rah, rah, Wisconsin. You rah, rah, Wisconsin. Yay!
Our thanks to Jeff and Angela for connecting us to music and to their son Nick for his production assistance. In my Rotary Philanthropy news for the week, I'd like to focus attention on the progress Rotarians are making around the world to eradicate polio. In last week's international news, Rotary and its partners in the Global Polio Eradication Initiative said they were proud to announce that the African region is now certified poliovirus-free. The milestone comes 4 years after Nigeria, the last polio endemic country in Africa, recorded its final case of poliovirus following decades of efforts. So Rotary has contributed more than $2.1 million to fight polio, not to mention the countless volunteer hours since launching its polio eradication program in 1985. Our own Rotary Club members have contributed over $260,000 to the effort during 2 separate campaigns since 1985. When the Polio Eradication Initiative launched, there were 350,000 cases of polio every year. Today, the incidence of polio has plummeted by more than 99.9%. The virus continues to circulate in Afghanistan and Pakistan. So this continuing progress in the effort to eradicate polio from the world is a great example of how we serve the global community. We have birthdays to celebrate with a bit of humor or wisdom that complements Rotary's mission. We also encourage members to make an age-appropriate gift to the Madison Rotary Foundation. Now, round it up to $100 for our Club Synergy Scholarship Fund, which helps us serve our community. August 30th, past president Melanie Ramey. You may know that Melanie plays the harp. Some members sent messages on chat during our online meeting a few weeks ago, suggesting we have Melanie play her harp sometime at Rotary. Well, when Melanie hosted one of our Rotary Scotch whiskey events at her home several months ago, she let me sit down next to the harp. Brian Baskin tells me that he has a clip from it, so let's take a look. Wow, Brian, that is an amazing video. Never realized my hidden musical talents. Our next birthday is Mike Strigel, also on August 30th. August 31st, Anthony Gray. September 1st, Reena Chandra Rajpal. September 2nd, Teresa Holmes. September 3, Virginia Bartel. September 4th, Jenny Sereno. Thanks to our celebrants for their contributions to the Madison Rotary Foundation. Nick Kerr and his family will now sing Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Nick Kern and family. Now you can see a flyer here about a Rotary District online workshop set for October 14th. The workshop will expand your network and expand your mind with actionable learning that you can use not only for Rotary, but also for your business or nonprofit. You can go to the Rotary District website to register or contact the Rotary office to get the link to sign up. In other district news, our Rotary District Governor Bill Pritchard asked that I share news about a disaster relief effort established for those impacted by the widespread destruction of straight-line winds in central Iowa a few weeks ago. There will be more details in this Friday's Rotary News. I thought it might be of interest to some Rotarians to come and see the Rotary live stream meeting at Pearson Engineering. The location is on the west side of Madison, near West Town Mall. So I'd like to invite 2 interested Rotarians to join us for lunch in our live stream meeting here at Pearson Engineering each week. This will keep our overall attendance below 10, and there's plenty of room for us to social distance during lunch and enjoy the program. If you are interested in signing up for one of our upcoming meetings, email or call the Rotary office, and they'll arrange for 2 interested Rotarians to attend each week we are live streaming our meeting. Now, who says there is no free lunch? Now, even though we can't see each other in person each week during the pandemic, there is one advantage of our online meetings. Since we can have pre-recorded speakers, let us know if you have an idea and a connection to a national speaker that we would be able to consider for our upcoming programs. Let Neil Furbach, our program committee chair, or the Rotary office know if you have some ideas and connections. And now on to today's program. Our speaker today is Rotary District 6250 Governor Bill Pritchard, a member of the La Crosse After Hours Rotary Club. He is branch and portfolio manager for Stifel Financial. Since 2010, Bill has held numerous club and district posts and responsibilities, starting with becoming a youth exchange counselor in his club in 2010, and he is still active, and the first ethics committee chair for District 6250 in 2011. He has served as the District 6250 membership chair, the District 6250 Youth Exchange Inbound Coordinator, and was president of the Rotary Club of La Crosse in 2014-2015. His work at the district level expanded to the zone and multi-zone levels, serving as curriculum director for the 19 districts of Central States Rotary Youth Exchange, as well as the assistant Rotary Zone Coordinator for Zone 28. Bill was also awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Rotary Works Foundation 2015-2016. We look forward to your presentation, Bill, and we have made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way to say thanks for speaking to us today. Please welcome Rotary District Governor Bill Pritchard to our virtual podium.
Greetings to the great Rotarians of the Rotary Club of Madison. My name is Bill Pritchard. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of La Crosse After Hours. I've been a Rotarian for over 15 years. It is my honor to visit with you today as your district governor for District 6250 for the 2020-21 year. I come to you today from my Rotary COVID Event Center, a repurposed bedroom in my home that I've turned into a recording studio for our time together today. It's a poor substitute for visiting with you in person. For visiting the Rotary Club of Madison is something that each and every district governor looks forward to each year. I mean, when else will I have the chance to see which bow tie Rob Stroud has chosen to wear today? Now, I have had the honor of visiting your club as a Rotary guest, both in your normal haunts on Wednesdays at the Park Hotel, but also at the Alliant Energy Center. I've also had meetings with various committees over the years, both your membership committee and your youth exchange committee. So I've had a chance to observe the dedication that you all show towards the good work and the good word of Rotary, and how you move with purpose toward the goals that you are asked of you, both from Evanston, the district, and most certainly your president and your own. Now, never would I have guessed that I would be addressing you today in this format, for our world has been changed in significant ways due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a new world, this time of COVID, where we find it challenging to keep in connection with our Rotary and family friends. What once was normal is no longer normal. The abnormal is now the new normal. Now, how long this lasts is unknown. But as your governor, I have been so encouraged by what I have witnessed in Rotary clubs across our district as we adapt to the new normal that we see outside of our windows. Rotary clubs across the district, like yours, have moved to adding a virtual element to their club meetings. Now, these virtual elements have added interesting and unforeseen opportunities to many of our clubs. We have had new Rotarians join across the district due to these new virtual elements. Perhaps in the past they had been held back from accepting our invitation since they didn't want to let us down by not being able to commit to attend all the meetings in person. The flexibility of being able to attend meetings virtually when the trials of daily lives present themselves, be it in our professional lives, our family lives, while we're away from our community, or real life, like the opportunity to catch a window of good weather to work on a home project. We added a virtual element due to necessity in most of our clubs, but I hope that each club will strongly consider keeping the virtual element for each meeting going forward. Call it Room in a Zoom, or call it hybrid. I believe it will be the new model for traditional Rotary clubs for years to come. Now, the key to success in this time of COVID is to adapt, to try something different. Now, we have clubs in our district who are deciding not to meet in person on a regular basis going forward. These smaller clubs find that virtual works very well for them for the business of their club. And so they're introducing a model that I've been calling 3 Zooms and a social. Fundraising events across our districts have been moving online, from auctions, the Westtown Middleton Club is doing one right now, to rose and pie sales. Orders are now available online, and even a golf tournament. Putt-putt online, anyone? This ability to adapt and to find one's way in this time of COVID is key. It is each club's ability to pivot in a direction that fits and what works for its members in this new world that we see outside of our window. That is the key. So what will the Rotary Club of Madison look like in 5 years if what is occurring now becomes the new normal? I strongly encourage you to bring this forward and bring this vision forward into your strategic plans. Now, our president this year of Rotary International, Holger Kanak of Germany, is asking all Rotary clubs to re-engage with their strategic plan this year with an eye on how you will pivot into this new normal. How appropriate that the Rotary theme this year is Rotary Opens Opportunities. What opportunities have opened due to the new worlds that you find yourselves in? How will the Rotary Club of Madison continue and increase its impact in Madison and throughout the state and the world? How will the Rotary Club of Madison reach even more individuals to activate and to inspire? How will the Rotary Club of Madison strive to understand the needs of the Madison area community and engage with various groups and ways of thinking to reflect this Madison community? And how do each of these efforts increase the ability of the Rotary Club of Madison to adapt to the changing needs of its members and of its community? This is what President Holger asks of all of us this year, to recognize the opportunities that Rotary opens for our clubs and for ourselves. So build the action plan of these discussions into your strategic plan. Now, when I am not visiting Rotary clubs, my occupation is that of a market strategist and a portfolio manager for a regional money management firm. I am at my heart a numbers guy. I'm a geek who is moved by the data and the conclusions that data may help illuminate. And so as part of my preparation for my visit with you today, I took the opportunity to review the key metrics that Rotary uses to help measure the health and vibrancy of a club. And it should come as no surprise to you, but the Rotary Club of Madison has very much to be very proud of. First off, you are a very active club on public media and social media. I reviewed your Facebook page and find a very active community of Rotarians. Your use of fellowship groups within the club is one that is emulated in larger clubs across our own district and even North America. Your Rotary Club of Madison contributed almost $63,000 to the Rotary Foundation through both its annual fund and its Polio Plus initiative last year. This was above your club's goal of $50,000. So congratulations. And on behalf of the Rotary Foundation, thank you for your gifts and for your efforts. Your gifts, along with the gifts of other clubs across the district, made it possible for us to move with great speed to receive $25,000 in special funding to donate to meaningful groups within our communities across the district to support local groups that were on the front lines of the COVID pandemic. This could only happen due to the generosity of our district throughout the years. Last year, our district contributed over $380,000 to the annual fund and over $800,000 overall to the annual fund and polio eradication initiatives. Now, your club giving results in an average of $116 per member, which qualifies your club to tap into district and global grants to advance the good works around Madison, the state of Wisconsin, and around the world. And as importantly, the giving is done by a great percentage of your members. Last year, 194 Rotary Club of Madison members gave to the annual fund. It's about 44% of your membership. And of those 184, they gave more than $100. So again, on behalf of a grateful district and a grateful Rotary organization, thank you. Now, for those of you that know me, I cut my teeth in Rotary in the area of membership. I served as the district membership committee chair for 3 years, before serving an additional 3 years as the zone coordinator for membership, overseeing membership from the Dakotas to Michigan, from Hudson Bay to Indiana. I was proud to be part of the team that crafted the reports you can find on Rotary.org today in your My Rotary and Member Reports area. So, I've wandered around club membership for some time. And here too, although your membership has declined over the past few years, you have things to be very proud of. It appears that Rotarians who stay in the Rotary Club of Madison for at least 3 years are very satisfied with the Rotary experience. Now, during the last 3 years, your club has lost 109 Rotarians who had been members of your club for at least 3 years. But as a retention percentage, that means you're keeping over 77% of your members within the club, and they remain in your club because they're happy. Now, our district average is a touch over 71%. So to have that strong of a retention rate in a club of your size, that's something to be very proud of. Rotarians who stay in Rotary for more than 3 years, we tend to stay because of the friendship and fellowship that we find among our fellow Rotarians, along with the opportunity to serve. And of those 109 you lost, 33 left because of items that were really outside of your control. You had 12 people leave you who died. You had 5 that left you to join other clubs, and 16 that left because of relocation. Now, the remaining 76 are within your control, and I encourage your club to continue to look inside your club to see how you can improve the club experience and connect all the Rotarians to the Rotary Club of Madison's value proposition: to connect, to grow, and to serve. Now, an area that I suggest that you give extra attention to while reviewing your strategic plan is your retention level of your newest Rotarians. Now, you have attracted 101 new members to your club within the past 3 years. That's a little under 34 new members each year. Now, unfortunately, over the last 3 years, you have lost 58 Rotarians who had been members of your club for less than 3 years. Now, Rotarians leave us for any number of reasons, but when we conduct exit interviews, it has been found that across North America, most Rotarians leave Rotary within the first 3 years because the reason they joined the club was never satisfied. Everyone joins Rotary for a reason. But if that reason that they joined is not something they ever experience, they often leave. You know, I use myself as an example of this. Now, I joined Rotary about 16 years ago because I was told to. Yep, a Rotarian from La Crosse asked for an appointment to see me at my downtown office. The Rotarian laid out the reasons why I should join the 185-member Rotary Club of La Crosse. Chief amongst many was that it was where the successful business and civic leaders belonged. And if I considered myself a successful business person, well, I'd be well served to consider joining. Well, I was a successful business person, or so I thought. So I guess I should join. So I joined for business reasons. And imagine my surprise when I found out that this particular club, at that particular time, had a strong culture not to talk shop or business before, during, or after any Rotary meeting. In fact, this was where area business and civic leaders went as an escape from their business environment. So I came for business, but no business was to be done. So lesson number 1 with our newest members: be sure to know the whys of why they joined Rotary. Now, I'm sure that if I could look out over the crowd of you, I would see many halos above each of your heads because you are in Rotary to serve others. But be sure you know each new member's why, and do your best to satisfy that why when possible. Now, I got lucky. I found my Rotary hook that has kept me involved since the early years. And for me, it was our Rotary International Youth Exchange Program. It was not the reason I joined Rotary. I didn't even know it existed. But when I listened to an international student who had chosen to spend her year with us instead of going to her prom, or playing in her sports, or seeing her friends, or seeing her family, I was intrigued. I mean, more than intrigued, I was fascinated. And I wanted to learn more. So I volunteered for the youth committee in my club. And that work in the committee turned into a district committee assignment. And that district committee assignment ultimately turned into my working with different things across the United States to help organize summer international exchange events. But remember, I got lucky. So lesson number 2 with our newest members: do everything that you can to raise their Rotary IQ. Their awareness of the great things that we do in Rotary across our region, across our state, and across our world. Because if a member is truly aware of all the things that Rotary does around the world, and they can't find something that captures a part of their heart, then they likely don't have a beating one. Capture those 2 lessons within the Rotary Club of Madison, and I'm convinced that you will retain a larger percentage of your newest vibrant members, and your club will be a better club as a result. Now, one final area of focus for the strategic plan review in 2020 is to look at your club's diversity. Now, Rotary only provides data on a couple of metrics. The first of which is the percentage of females within your club, 36.65% for your club, which is right at the district average. And the second is the number of members of your club who are under the age of 40. Now, I'm only seeing 1.12% for your club. I mean, that has to be a mistake. Now, we all know there is no best age to be a Rotarian. But 4 years ago, I transferred from that downtown Rotary Club to the Rotary After Hours Club. And I'm so happy to announce that within the last 2 months, I have been joined by another Rotarian who is over the age of 50. That makes 2 of us in a club of 65. So the average age in my club is a touch under 30. Now, I can only describe this experience of being surrounded by business professionals who are under the age of 40 as being deliciously impatient. Well, it's delicious. I repeat, there is no best age to be a Rotarian. But having a diversity of ages and life experiences, as well as life outlooks, makes for a much more vibrant club. And so now I have a couple of points before I turn it back over to George to answer any questions you might have of me. First off, your assistant governor who represents your club and a number of clubs in the Madison area is Mike Dillis. Mike is celebrating his first year as assistant governor. Assistant governors have a tough job. They have 2 major jobs, the first of which, and God, I wouldn't wish this on anybody, Mike is there to represent me. He's to be the reflection of the district governor in the clubs. Boy, what a terrible job, and I'm sorry, Mike. His second job is to connect each club with the resources that they're looking for the projects and the good work they wish to do. So I strongly encourage you lean into Mike and utilize Mike for anything that you are looking for in your district. Now, if Mike doesn't know the answer, the district governor team is certainly here to help. But Mike is your first stop, and you got a good one there, so make sure you lean into him. Lastly, this last year in my Rotary Club of Lacrosse After Hours, we lost a very good Rotarian and a good friend of mine. His name was David Knutson, and we lost David before his 38th birthday. David had a heart condition he didn't know he had. We didn't know he had it. He certainly didn't know he had it. And so he suffered a massive heart attack while in his apartment. He lived alone. And so we didn't find him for 3 days. Now, David was one of these remarkable people. He one-on-one, talked your ear off. I mean, a guy, he would not stop talking about the Chicago Bears. He was a Bears fan. Let's not hold that against him. But he loved talking about the Bears. In large groups, he was a little socially awkward, quiet, uncomfortable. But the guy loved to serve. He loved to say yes to every opportunity that was presented himself. I mean, if you had a pancake breakfast, he was flipping pancakes. If you had a brat fry, he was doing the brats. If you were selling roses, he would be the first one to sign up. If you had a road cleanup, Dave was your guy. Dave loved to do road cleanup and to ask and have a contest with other people about who found the most strange, weird thing during their road cleanups. And one of my fondest memories of Dave was that Dave tried to sit across from me one time at a bar after I bought him dinner again for what he found, telling me that his secret was always taking the right side of the road. David didn't seem to recognize that roads go in 2 directions and there was always a right side, but David thought that since most people were right-handed, they threw their crap out the right side of the car. I don't know. Our club also has a tradition where we will go to some of our new members and ask them if they want to go camping for the weekend. We just say you got to bring your a sleeping bag and a pillow, and what we don't tell them was that's taking them to Ryla. And as Michelle, if you're there, Michelle can attest to, we've had some wonderful, wonderful people who are still very involved in RYLA that have come from the After Hours Club because of that. And Dave Knutson was one of them. And so Dave lived every year for going to RYLA and interacting with young people and helping them understand what Rotary was all about, and to help them be better tuned to listen to the other leaders who could prepare them with better leadership skills they could take back to school. And in his memory, my club has started a scholarship where we're actually going to send 10 people to RYLA in David's name every year. But after we lost David, what we recognize is that David was the glue. And in all of our clubs across the district, we have these people like David. These people who don't wave a flag. They don't go out and say, look at me. They just say yes. And over again, their saying yes provides the grease that allows our clubs to operate in the ways they operate. Our clubs are full of these people. It's one of the key things I think that makes people a Rotarian. And in a club of the Club of Madison size, you must have literally dozens upon dozens. And so what I'm doing this year is I'm going to each of the club president lines in all of my club visits, and I'm asking them to choose one person, because as Highlander said, there can be only one. One person who will be recognized for the year 2021 as your club's yes person of the year. Now for that yes person, I'm going to give them a gift, and I'm going to give them an opportunity. First, the gift. I had originally planned to give every single person a plaque. And this plaque, I have one of them here, is a ceramic plaque that looks like this. And on it says, "What good shall I do this day?" Key word here is shall. Not what good did I do, it's what good shall I do this day. It's about leading a life with purpose and on purpose. Now, I didn't invent this. This came from Ben Franklin. You may remember Mr. Franklin, one of our founding fathers. Now, Mr. Franklin, very famous for his Poor Richard's Almanac and how that's evolved into the Farmer's Almanac over time. But what most people don't remember is that every year at the same time Poor Richard's Almanac came out, he published another book. And that book was of all the observations in the Boston and Paris area, or wherever he was at, of people who he saw living their lives like this. To recognize those people that just go through life doing good. I wish I had one of these signs for every one of them, but because of COVID, they've actually shut down the plant and I can't get any more. So your winner is going to receive a journal that was modeled after this same thing, which has on its cover, "What good shall I do this day?" And where hopefully they'll be able to live in the spirit of Ben Franklin, of being aware of the good they do, how grateful we are for the good they do, and being aware of all the people around them that do good as well. That's the gift. The opportunity is that each and every one of our clubs is going to have one of these people, and every single one of them is highly qualified. And so I'm going to select one of them at random, and I'm going to pay for that person's transportation costs to come join us at the International Conference in Taipei this next year. International conferences change lives. And I want this individual to have that opportunity to have their lives changed as well. You can't be the same anymore after you go to one. So it's my hope that your selection from the Rotary Club of Madison is chosen to join us this coming year in Taipei. Okay, enough preamble. It is my honor to announce the recipient of the Yes Person Award for the Rotary Club of Madison. And that individual is Mr. Brian Baskin. Congratulations, Brian. I wish I was there to give this to you in person. But the resume that was provided by the club presidents is too long for us to articulate today. But on behalf of a grateful club and an even more grateful district, thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for the good that you do. That creates, as I said earlier, the grease that makes our clubs work. Because without you, we couldn't do the good services that we do in Madison and around the world. So again, Brian, thank you very much. Well, George, that's enough from me. I'll turn it back over to you to see if we have any questions from our members today.
I hope you enjoyed District Governor Pritchard's message, and thanks to Bill for presenting this today. Now, Bill is going to be joining our Rotary Board members for our Zoom meeting next Tuesday evening. If anyone has a question for our District Governor, please send an email to the Rotary office by the end of this week, and we'll be sure to have questions shared with Bill at our board meeting next Tuesday. I wanted to wait until after Bill's remarks to highlight Brian Baskin as my member in the news feature for this week. As you just heard, Brian was named as our club's choice for the district's Yes Award. COVID-19 has impacted so many normal activities, including our Rotary Club and how it is able to function. Now, because of an incredible Rotarian, Brian Baskin, we began virtual meetings starting April 1st. And we have been able to continue meeting virtually every Wednesday, which is allowing our membership to continue to connect, grow, and serve during the pandemic. Brian has transformed his conference room at Pearson Engineering into our Rotary meeting studio, and he volunteers his time each week to help with audiovisual to produce our weekly meetings online. During the weeks when we do not have a live presenter, like this week, he spends several hours splicing videos together to get to the final finished video to show to members. These meetings are live streamed to YouTube, and we generally have over 100 people watching at noon on Wednesdays, and the views on YouTube grow to over 250 on average by the end of the week. Brian exemplifies the service above self motto of Rotary. He does not seek attention for his efforts, and is just happy to provide this service to our Rotary Club to keep members connected. This is why we nominated Brian for the Yes Award. Brian, thank you for your continued service, and congratulations on the recognition from District Governor Bill Pritchard. Finally, as we finish up today's meeting, I want to mention our annual Rotary Swarzynski Award. Our committee is now seeking nominations for this year's award. The award honors individuals who, through their voluntary efforts, have made a particularly outstanding contribution to humanitarian service in the greater Madison community, in the tradition so exemplified by the life of Rabbi Swarzynski. The awardee may have served the community through a community agency or service. In addition to the distinction of the award, it provides a $2,500 grant from the Madison Rotary Foundation to the charity chosen by the awardee. Remember, the recipient does not need to be a Rotarian. So there is a link to the nomination form in our Rotary newsletter, and the deadline for nominations is October 1st. So as we close today's meeting, we are going to show the 9-minute award-winning documentary produced by club member Dick Goldberg, which provides insights into the rabbi and his extraordinary life. I will adjourn the meeting now, and those who would like to watch the video about the life of Rabbi Swarzynski can remain on and watch the 9-minute video. We are adjourned.
Well, he was rabbi to everybody. He was the teacher. He was a teacher. He reached out, and his life touched all lives. He had this fierce compassion for learning, this great love of justice and mercy. And every life that he touched was infected by this. They reacted that way. They became somehow greater.
As a little child, my father and he were friends back in Germany. And I grew up learning stories about this man, this great man, Manfred Swarzynski. My father had a voice like his. And so he was the biggest and the greatest in my life as I was growing up. And one time he came to Chicago to visit us, where my father was rabbi, and the phone rang, and I picked it up, and this very large voice said, "Is Franz Rosenthal there? This is Manfred Swarzynski." And you can imagine he kept getting bigger and bigger, and I bought a new dress, and I got all excited, and I answered the door when he arrived, and I looked eye level to this man. And that was Manfred Swarzynski, and I spent the rest of my relationship basically realizing how big that little man was.
Emphasize the fact that life was worth living, and life is worth living not for the dead, but for all those who come afterwards. And so, because we value life so highly, we certainly would not tolerate any idea or any way of handling it that a human being who is dead should now, all of a sudden, he was here yesterday, be thrown like an old piece of junk on a cosmic ash heap, if I may say so. And bingo, and gone he is. This idea we cannot accept. Therefore, through our customs, and this is my point, we celebrate life.
Rabbi Manfred Swarzinski arrived in Madison in 1940 at the age of 34, and soon thereafter he founded Temple Beth El. Yet before his arrival, he had already experienced a full lifetime. Born in Germany in 1906, he received his Ph.D. in both philosophy and Semitic languages and became an ordained rabbi by the age of 26. In 1932, he began serving as rabbi to the large congregations of Berlin, a most unusual feat for such a young man.
My father used to tell stories about, you know, in the Jewish Sabbath, when the sun goes down, work ceases. And so Dad would finish his work at the seminary and rush from, he was in Breslau, and rush to Berlin to get there before the doors were closed, because such crowds of people would come to hear this little man, Manfred Swarzinski, speak. And from this incredible pulpit he held in Berlin, he came to Madison.
6 years into his tenure, he endured the horrors of Kristallnacht, a night when, among other things, the Nazis destroyed all the temples of Berlin.
Why did you stay after Kristallnacht?
The reason was, and I don't want to appear as a hero, I'm not. I had made up my mind and also promised one of my favorite teachers, his name was Leo Beck, that I would stay. Absolutely. I have no reason, as long I had a big, very large congregation. And I felt this was running away from what I regarded my duty, so I didn't get out.
Shortly thereafter, not to his surprise, Rabbi received the dreaded visit from the SS, and he was carted off to the concentration camp Sachsenhausen. There, amid hard labor, humiliation, and torture, Manfred offered comfort to his fellow inmates. After 3 months, he was released from the camp, a freedom he accepted only after the second time it was offered. Rabbi Swarzinski spent the next month continuing his ministry to the Berlin Jewish community. There he was constantly admonished by the Gestapo to leave the country. Finally, he left. And after spending several months in Holland and England, Rabbi immigrated to the United States and settled in Madison. He not only founded and presided over Temple Beth El as its rabbi from 1940 to 1976, he also became known as rabbi, minister, and bridge builder to our entire community.
No, well, he was rabbi to everybody. He was the teacher. He was a teacher. That's exactly
no
what
doubt
it was.
about it.
He reached out, and his life touched all lives. He had this fierce compassion for learning, this great love of justice and mercy. And every life that he touched was infected by this. They reacted that way. They became somehow greater.
He became a familiar face on the pulpits throughout the city and the state. In 1967, he received an award from the National Council of Christians and Jews for his contribution to interfaith understanding in Wisconsin. His list of additional contributions to our community seems endless. From years on the board of a hospital, the Red Cross, the Rotary, Dane County Mental Health, the Boy Scouts, YMCA, and many more, to his founding of Madison's Interfaith Clergy Group and being a delegate to the White House for a conference on aging. After retiring and becoming Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Beth El in 1976, he served until his death in 1981 as Chair of Jewish Studies at Edgewood College, where he received an honorary Ph.D. But a list of Rabbi Swarzinski's achievements hardly describes his humanity.
I mean, if I were troubled and I were to call him for one reason or another, when do you think he'd meet with me? 11:30 at night, I'm free tonight, Hannah. And at 11:30 at night, I'd schlep to Beth El, and we'd sit under one little light bulb because we shouldn't waste energy. And we would talk until 2 in the morning.
You know, I was his cantor for many, many years at Temple Bethel. And one cold, blustery, wintry day, I went into a little bakery shop on University Avenue. It was called Sam's Bakery. And Manfred frequented this bakery, and this particular day he was there with his elderly mother. And I noticed that Manfred was without an overcoat, and it was really cold outside. And I said to him, Rabbi, why are you here without a coat on such a very, very cold day? That's not good for you. And he replied very straightforwardly, you know, I ran into a man outside who didn't have a coat, and I decided he needed it more than I did. And that is what Manfred was all about.
In 1970, for the first time since leaving in 1939, Rabbi Swarzinski revisited his homeland. He had been invited by the German government, and as a Jew, he said he had no right to push away a hand outstretched in reconciliation.
I do not believe that hatred is an emotion that has any redemptive quality, meaning it cannot build the human future. It would be totally against my ethical and spiritual conviction to say that German youth living today is accountable for the sins of their fathers.
I think that's some of the frustration we all feel now, is that we recognize that in his life he gave and gave and gave and gave to us individually, to our families, to the community, and now we want to somehow feebly give back, and it's impossible.
You can.
Oh, yes.
Emulate Manfred.